Welcome, everyone. As you know, last week's topic was creating a win-win situation. Sounds like corporate, soft skill training. No, these are all based on radical chakras, uh, especially the dorsum of the foot. That reminds you of the win-win situation. When this particular minor chakra was channeled, the vision that I had is a baby walking on the foot. So when a baby is 1 year old and we are in hurry to make baby walk, and obviously baby may or may not be able to walk correctly, so you hold baby's hand and allow their feet to rest on your feet, and you walk backward to make this boy baby walk forward. Now it's pretty exciting and thrilling for the baby and for the adults or parents as well. Uh, but what we don't realize is to make the baby walk forward, you're walking backward. And it's all right with the baby and for a very short span of time, but people have metaphorically a habit of allowing others to step on their toes. Even if others don't even have an idea of doing that, they will say, come, 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 please come and step on my toes. And to help them move forward, you actually walk few steps backward. And these kind of examples are pretty common, and I'm all the time or most of the time surrounded by healers. And I see this so very common amongst healers, that they love to um, they love to be taken advantage of at times. They have a need to be needed, and they feel so good when others need them. And you almost give signals that, okay, you can do that to me. And after a while, you feel used, taken advantage of, um, used and thrown, forsaken, abandoned, and all those complaints come up. Essentially, somewhere you give a signal, others do that, and then you complain and uh, get unhappy about it. Well, the story goes on. This happens essentially because what we don't realize is our need to be needed. Now, it's a bitter truth that you have to swallow sometimes. Uh, Nobody can step on your foot unless you make your foot available. And nobody can take advantage of you and exploit you unless eventually you allow it. You're no longer a baby. You're no longer that vulnerable one. You're no longer a stupid idiot fool. You all are wise ones. You know what you're doing with yourself. You know what you're doing with others. Okay. And you keep doing it because it makes you feel good. It makes you feel nice that you are of help to others, and others are seeking help. And if others can take help from you, so somewhere you're in a better position, and that makes you feel good. Does that mean that you should not be helping anyone? No, I'm not saying that. Please reach out and help, not when your cup is empty. You allow yourself to be drained, then you're going to feel drained. But there's another way, is to align yourself so beautifully to the resource that you almost overflow with the resources. And this overflowing resources can be available to others provided they care to align themselves to the overflowing resources. However, you need to make sure that every time you give an offer, you also create a kind of a win-win situation, right? Uh, Commonest examples would be, okay, you want to go to Pune, take my car, it's just available. And then you never make any particular terms or conditions or requests, and then sit back and growl that, oh, it's already 4 days, my car is gone to Pune, and the person has not even bothered to return or call me back and stuff like that. But did you make it clear right in the beginning that this car is available for so many hours or so many days? No, you didn't. And if that was the case, then how would the other person know? Okay. Next would be, like, come, 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 you can eat at my place. And then you'll have guests coming pretty often and eating at your place. It's a joy to invite guests. But I often hear complaints that we were taken advantage of, or, it was, they almost piled on. They said they're coming for 2 days and they stayed back for 15 days. And what is this? My house is not dharamshala. How can I get rid of them? Why complain? Did you make it very clear right in the beginning that, okay, fine, you can be here with me for 2 days? Beyond 2 days, I have a little other engagements or other priorities. We don't make it. And we almost, all those people who feel used or exploited or taken advantage of somewhere, send out a signal. The other day, I was talking with a girl who was sexually abused, and several times molested by one of the closest relatives. Said, I said, how old were you? She says, it started from age 5 and went on till 14. I said, did you not speak to your parents, or did you not let them know what was happening? Says, no, actually, in a way, even I was enjoying, but I was scared and I had mixed feelings about it. And it's not just one case. If I have asked a lot of especially molested cases. I'm not saying all of them, but I've come across several people. If you go deeper and deeper, unpeeling the layers after layers, you realize that several molested people actually enjoyed that touch. Nobody touched them. And that molester maybe was taking advantage, but was giving some sense of pleasure or a joy. The molested person or the abused person was allowing that to happen to her or him, uh, maybe getting something in bargain, we do not know. And that's been found pretty often. So as serious as say, sexual abuse or sometimes even physical abuse, behind all those stories is some initiative, because most children are capable of shouting and screaming and telling, but somewhere a lot of them have agreed that it felt good when somebody touched. Doesn't matter where I was touched, but it felt somewhat kind of exciting. Now we're getting deviated because it's not just about sexuality. It happens in many spheres of the life, not just in personal life, sometimes even in professional life. Those who are sincere, hardworking, often uh, land up bearing the brunt of others' work. So, your colleague might be wanting to take a weekend off clearly and have a pending object, and you say, come, 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 I will finish it for you. So tonight I'll burn my midnight lamp and I will complete your project so that you can take a day off with your girlfriend on Saturday and Sunday and say, what a great friend I have, just to be in a good book of someone. So just to be that Miss Nice and Mr. Nice, you'll end up doing so much for others all the time. And everybody in the professional sphere know exactly that, yeah, there is someone who can, be taken advantage of. And so you almost send out those signals. And when you do it, others actually like you and also like your offers. It's not, is that their fault? We do not know really. It may be the person who's offering this um, without any consideration, probably, or uh, without any demarcations, the boundaries sometimes that we need to create. And that could be the problem. The story can go on and on and on. Now, after listening to this story, you wonder, किसी को help ही नहीं करना चाहिए. It's pointless helping others. No, that's not the fact. You you need to reach out. We are social animals. We belong to a society. We live in a society, and the life is all about give and take, give and take, give and take. The only thing you need to make sure is number one, intent. Why are you helping others, or why are you reaching out to others? Do you have extra time? Do you find a merit in what others are doing? Do you really want to contribute out of the gratitude of all the favors that you've got in the past? Do you have extra time and want to use it in a fair manner? Do you feel that you're capable? Do you want to buy something else? Or, do you have any hidden agenda, some personal favor, some appreciation? You need to be very sure of your intent. If you're doing it to avoid something, there is no guarantee that you will not get what you have been avoiding, even after cooperating with others. Let me give you an example. So, if you have a fear that if I do not cooperate, our friendship will break, well, you help out, you go beyond your capacity to help that person do everything that the other person keeps asking. And yet, when you finish giving, you complete your role play, the other person will or may not is likely perhaps to disconnect from you, or get distracted, or at least drift away from you, because that person was with you only for his or her need, and nothing, I mean, no way to blame the other person, because you only somewhere sent out and signaled that yes, yes, you can use me. So obviously others are going to use and make use of all that offers that you made. And if they have nothing else, and if they still have a need for something more, they are going to look out for somebody else, uh, which will be perceived as rejection, which you avoided by being nice to this person and being helpful to other person. So if you are helping others to avoid rejections, there is no guarantee that you will not feel rejection at the end of the whole uh, contribution from your end. If you um, are helping others to avoid being criticized, there is no guarantee that you will not get criticism after helping others. If you're helping others to avoid social isolation, there is no guarantee that the social isolation may not come after being extremely helpful to one and all. So just be sure of your intent. If your intent is running away, escaping, avoiding something, the very experience that you thought you're avoiding, you're likely to get it back. So, next thing that you need to understand is, are you sure that you can really afford to give it? May that be time, may that be money, may that be skills, advice, guidance, or support, or maybe your expertise. So, are you capable of doing, or are you in the position to give? Be very sure and how much. Be very clear and very precise, and make sure that you are not emptying your cup to help others out. This I see often, especially in terms of financial help. There are big-hearted people who even borrow money to give it to their friends, and I don't understand why would they do it. Why would they not have their friends borrow money directly from the bank? Because lots of bank offers are coming up, and it's quite possible to arrange a loan for a friend rather than you taking a loan from somebody and giving it to others. That could be a disaster, because what if the other person doesn't pay up? And all that you wanted to avoid, perhaps by gifting a loan or money, that can still happen. And a lot of relationships which you think you're sustaining by giving money can break because of the money, and it continues. So be very sure how much you can afford to part with, whether it's your time or money or any other resources. So you just see, okay, fine, I have extra 2 hours in a day, and this is something I can spend in doing something good for someone. Okay, do it. But do not step beyond those boundaries and then spend the whole day and then feel frustrated. Oh my God, how much I did for her or him, and look at the way I'm being treated at the end of it, or the way I've been thrown aside or stuff like that. Um, Essentially, it's not about you or others. It's you who feel so wretched at the end of it, and those vibes are picked up by others. The third is learning the ability to learn to say no as and when needs to be, as and when you need it. So sometimes you may just want to say no right in the beginning. Sometimes you want to say when others cross their boundaries. Sometimes saying no as and when you wake up. Do you have this capacity and capability of saying no? Learn to say no, because it's nice to be nice to others, but it may not be very nice to you when you're all the time nice to others. You don't need to necessarily be nice. We're living in a material world with limited resources. The most limited resource is your time. So even if somebody loves to be around and take your help and services for days together, there's a limited number of days and hours available uh, in an opportunity called life. What do you want to do with the available resources? So evaluate how much, what resources, and how can you distribute these resources appropriately to those whom you think they deserve. After doing that, um, again, it's again you who needs to make sure that what you want out of it. If you're one of those noble, kind-hearted, genuine people who want nothing in return after giving, well and good. But if you have a hidden agenda, be very, very clear. So you may not need money in return. You may need just a favor, maybe a hug, maybe a smile, a kiss, some time together, some moments to fill up your loneliness, okay? Some kindness, the gossip, insider information. Now, if you have those hidden agenda which has never been spelled out when you start helping others, make sure that you become very clear about your hidden agenda. If you cannot spell it out, if you do not have a courage, be very, very clear in your own mind that this is why you are doing it. Okay? And when you know that you have a hidden agenda, you will not feel so badly exploited because you know why you did it. Most of the time people fool themselves because um, they are not aware of their own hidden agenda, and they'll end up helping a lot of people, and then they feel, oh my God, I did so much. But then how about your hidden agendas? Be very careful, be very clear in your heart, in your mind. Most of the time, if your cup is full, the resources are flowing, and others are simply aligning to capture those resources, get the benefit out of it. You do not even know who's the beneficiary, and you don't even care because you've got what you wanted. You felt whole and complete. You're not doing to get anything out of it. You have no complaints. However, we do have sometimes those hidden agendas. Work, you can use R5 and unpeel the layers after layers to understand when you're helping, why would you be helping? And that also can include a session of healing or doing something nice to people, or whatever. There are several ways in which a lot of noble-hearted people are helping others. Now, what we need to know is, after doing that, how do you prevent the sense of exploitation? If your cup is not yet full, and if you want to contribute, invite a win-win situation. It's always possible to figure out a win-win situation where the receivers and givers both can benefit. Once you can see through obvious or subtle win-win situation, and when you make it very clear, maybe if needed, vocalize it. And if you completely do that, there is lesser chances of feeling used, abused, or exploited by others. And how to create that win-win situation? Yes, it depends upon your circumstances, your relationships, the resources that you're sharing or exchanging, um, the management of the whole resource systems. That will decide how you can create a win-win situation. So the solution to the entire scenario is to create a win-win situation, ensure a win-win situation, and get maximum benefit out of the win-win situation. So far, so good. Over to you guys.
Yes.
All right. Any question on this? Everybody is so quiet. I don't even know whether everyone's listening or not.
Yeah, we can listen.
Okay. Uh, has this triggered something within to some people? For some people?
Yeah, Atman, can I just share something for a
Yeah.
minute?
Sure, sure.
Yeah. What you are saying is I can relate it very well because my daughter at workplace,
Huh?
this has been a scenario with her. She
Mm-hmm.
is again very giving by nature, by temperament,
Mm-hmm.
and it is often, she gets into the feeling that yes, people are misusing her or exploiting or kind of throwing away their responsibilities on her, thinking that she's there to deal the crisis.
Ah,
So, so every time people are little lay back with a lay back attitude, so things are not done as per the scheduled time frame, and in the end, it's a crisis situation, and then it is all overloaded on her, and then she ends up sorting out the mess and kind of giving the output and final submissions and all.
how does she benefit
The-
from this?
Nothing as such. This year's appraisal was quite disappointing for her so
That's,
far that it was not acknowledged. And since she was doing so much, so she was kind of trying to be little vocal about it that it is getting over pressurized on her
hmm.
and she's not getting enough bandwidth to even deal with her own kind of plan profile, outputs and all. And which was not really appreciated and kind of paid any attention to. So she was quite disheartened and disturbed about it.
Here, Uma and Shreyas, at least I know, are from corporate background, and they'll be able.
Yeah.
What would happen to a boss when you see your subordinates doing something like this? How do you see that?
And because initially bosses said, you take the lead, you take the lead, we are all with you, you take the lead however you want.
Hmm.
And when she started taking the lead, it was kind of not acknowledged probably the way she was expecting it to be. Or however, I don't know, but yes, definitely it was quite disheartening for her
Yeah.
at work.
Jyoti, this is the story of your daughter, so she's not here. So discussing
Yeah.
her behind her back too much is not going to help her or you or us
Ji,
as much. It will
ji,
become more of a gossip value sometimes.
ji.
However, What can you do as a mother? Just think.
जी, जी,
And why is she the way she is? And why is she allowing this story? So, what is things to be learned is, most of the time you bear extra brunt to get appraisal, and when that also doesn't come, which doesn't come most of the time, it's not
Yes,
hardworking people who always take the best.
true.
Okay. Uh, so what is it, and how does that work? So it's a very individual case. So she's not here. Let's not get into the discussion. She can
Mhm.
always connect to some of the radical facilitators and just check that out, that how she
Yeah,
can help.
I'll definitely convey what I have understood with, by what you are saying, explaining it to us. So definitely it will give her some insight.
Maybe, yeah, hopefully. Yeah. Great. Okay, anyone else?
Thank you.
Hi, Aatmn, Shreyas here.
Right, yes.
Uh, from I found whatever insights which you have shared. So I understood it from a point of view of getting clarity.
Okay.
Getting clarity while giving, getting clarity while sharing,
Mm-hmm.
while doing seva.
Yeah.
So uh, compartmentalize everything into a particular slot
Uh-huh.
and get clarity for each of it. When you are giving, create a win-win situation. When you are sharing, create a win-win situation. And
Yes.
when you are doing a seva, create a win-win situation. But in all the three, get clarity for
Mm.
yourself.
Absolutely.
So
You're doing pure seva. And if you know you're getting joy and happiness, acknowledge it so that you do not feel um, exploited. Or
yeah. So when you get clarity, you are in full awareness in all the three categories.
yes,
That yes, this is the clarity and this is why I am doing it. Why I am doing is very important, and get clarity about why I am doing is very important in
yes,
all the three categories, whether you're giving, whether you're sharing, or whether you're doing seva. So I'm taking, and this is my take.
awesome. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Yeah, thank
Okay.
you.
Anyone else?
Hi,
Hello,
Atman.
Atman.
No problem. Aditi, go on first and then we'll take another person. Yeah.
Yeah, I wanted to know, see, like, how do we deal in such a situation when it comes to a daughter-in-law and a mother-in-law situation,
Uh-huh.
where you want to have a win-win situation,
Uh,
in terms of communication and, in fact, everything, where a mother-in-law would expect a daughter-in-law to do everything, but she would not return the same way.
ah. Are you on mother-in-law side or a daughter-in-law?
I'm a daughter-in-law, and I'm
You
talking.
don't. Okay. So coming from a typical Indian scenario, a mother-in-law or a daughter-in-law would do a lot. Okay. And to avoid certain things. So avoid disharmony, to avoid rejections, to avoid criticism, to avoid judgments. And it's interesting, after doing all that, there is no guarantee that what you avoided, you wouldn't get it.
Yeah,
Right?
that is true.
Yeah. So first of all, learn to face life. Okay. Learn to take the bitter part of the life and embrace it. Be in acceptance of all that is. The moment you start accepting, you'll start feeling okay about yourself. When you start feeling okay about yourself, that's when you'll be able to communicate correctly, and communicate your need for certain boundaries, that this is what I can do. You don't expect me. I'm just giving you a very vague extreme
Hmm.
example, that don't expect me to get up at 12 o'clock midnight to serve so and so to brother-in-law and stuff like that. Maybe you did it when you were young, but I don't think I want to do it.
Hmm. No, even though I explain clearly, but then they become very upset with me. Like,
So learn to take that upset one day, second day, third day, then they will learn to accept. When you will accept, they will accept you. I'm not saying be rude, okay? There has to be good enough energy exchange to sustain relationships.
hmm, right.
Right. But you need to be very clear in your priorities as to what you would like to give, how much, why, and what would you like to get in the bargain.
Okay.
Yeah. So out of three kids, my elder one, she always say thank you. I did this for you. I said, yes, beta, thank you. It sounds funny, but she's very clear on what she wants. She wants gratitude. She'll say that.
Right. True. True.
No?
Yeah. Yeah. Got
So,
it. Thanks. Thanks a lot. Thank you.
yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Uh,
okay.
I just had this query.
Huh?
See, sometimes, you, even if you've told no on the first go, but
Huh?
you end up doing it because you want to keep peace at home.
But my question is, after doing all that, do you really buy peace?
Uh, See,
And if
peace,
at home, do you buy peace within? What happens to the
no,
peace
it's
within?
not there within. But what happens is that when you're married, you make a lot of compromises. You think that ghar pe shanti hai na, that is more than enough.
Okay, I would say yes, you make a lot of compromises and yet you do not make some of the compromises. So, what are those compromises you do not make?
But that makes me unhappy. At the end of the day, I am the one who feels, what have I got out of it?
Okay, and what have you got out of it after doing all that you did against your wishes?
I'm going through a separation. That is what I've got out of it.
Absolutely. So, to avoid certain things you keep doing, does that guarantee?
No, it does not. Eventually, it landed me in the same situation which I was avoiding all these years.
Perfect. You understood what I'm saying, right?
Yeah.
So, for a shortcuts, short-term benefits, you give in. I'm not saying you should not be giving in, okay? But if you give in to avoid certain things, there is no guarantee you may get the same thing.
That is there because at the end of the day, you still end up losing.
Yes.
So, what does one do? Does one stick to the no? No means no.
No, you don't have to be rigid, but at least be vocal. Most of the time we try and be very nice one, the good daughter-in-law, good wife, good husband. And then if you're unhappy, you can't make everybody happy around you, not at the cost of your happiness. And
Ma'am,
also you can go out of the way to help them. It's fine. But be sure why you're doing it.
But I knew now why was I doing it. I was just doing it for peace at home.
But the peace, you know what happened to that peace, right?
Yes, I do. So, what does one do then when things have now they're just over?
Okay, so the first thing, learn to embrace and accept all that is.
Okay.
All right, whether good, bad, ugly, whatever it is, you learn to accept and embrace. If you're trying to avoid and run away from the same thing that you're avoiding, you're getting.
And it's like a vicious cycle that will keep on happening again and
Yeah,
again.
yeah, yeah. So, even if you travel by aircraft, the first thing they tell you that if there is a lack of oxygen, the mask will fall. First, you put it on you and then help others.
Okay.
All right, because it's, of course, you need to help yourself first, feel complete, feel overflowing, ooze out with joy and energy, and then reach out to others. That will be much better appreciated.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you
Now,
for that.
that's a journey, okay? Not everybody is out there.
I know I'm at the crossroads of my life where I need to begin again. So I'm accepting it somewhere.
Yeah. However, you can begin somewhere and aim to feel so complete. And
Hmm.
being complete when you contribute, it's amazing. That feels good.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if you contribute before that, that's all right. Remain open for the energy exchange. What I'm saying is not in terms of money.
Hmm.
Could be anything.
Okay.
Okay. and just know that you deserve it, and it comes if you remain open.
Okay, but that is again a journey, because after
It,
so many years, the
yes,
confidence has gone absolutely hit rock bottom.
it can be rebuilt.
Okay.
And always, I know a lot of people who start from scratch at age 30, 40, 50, 60, even 70.
Hmm.
It's never too late.
Okay.
So never think it's done. I mean, you've learned. Pick up whatever you want to from your
Hmm.
past, whatever is helpful to you. Leave the rest. Look
Okay.
forward to a different future. It need not repeat.
Yes, I have to. I don't have an option now.
I'm glad at least you're kind of saying without much emotional charge, but that's good. And I'm sure you'll make it.
Yes, I do. I know I have to, so it's okay.
Okay.
Thank you for the insight either ways.
Thank you, Sophia. Bye.
Thank you.
Okay. Any other question? Any other comment or sharing?
Ma'am, can I share my experience in this matter in mother-in-law and sister, daughter-in-laws? This
Yeah,
one?
sure.
Yeah, ma'am. First, I used to do my duties for my mother-in-law, and I used to get disturbed whatever she gave the feedback. But end of the day, now I have started that okay, I can't make everyone happy or anything. It is my duty to do it, and I do it and don't expect anything from her. And it makes me feel so peaceful inside that okay, I can't make her happy always. So this is my duty, this is my framework, and I have to do it. And now, even though she is not happy, but it's not disturbing me at all.
Okay. Yeah. So how about just stepping up further and saying, I invite my mother-in-law to be happy with me.
Ma'am, actually, she is like that character. She is not happy. It's her case that she is not happy with anything. Nobody can make her happy.
Doesn't matter.
Okay.
I intend and invite my mother-in-law to be happy with me.
Okay.
Be happy in my universe.
Okay.
Because if you have that dialogue going on in your head that she's not happy with anyone,
Yeah, ma'am.
maybe she's not happy.
She is not happy with anyone. Whatever somebody do, so I know that I can't make everyone happy or everyone.
That is okay. That stand is perfect so far.
Yeah.
That you can't make everybody happy. Let's face the fact.
Yeah.
That whoever you are, the biggest hero in the world, okay, if somebody would be unhappy, it's fine. It's not our the holy duty to ensure that there is 100% happiness in all around you, and billions and billions of people would love it. And no, not necessarily. 100% appreciation may not come. It's okay. Okay. I'm just saying that step beyond this belief that my mother-in-law is like this only
Hello.
with everyone.
Hello.
Rashmi, hi.
Yes, ma'am. I am not being able to hear.
So, most of the time you invite people to be the way they are based on your belief about them. So, just as an experiment, Rashmi, okay, because I know how you apply Redikall.
Yeah.
So, how about just experimenting and saying, I invite her to be happy with me or in my universe?
Okay.
Yeah, you may be unhappy with the hazard things. It's okay.
Yeah.
No problem. But how about just trying to, just open up to the possibilities, and you'll find an amazing personality emerging eventually.
Okay.
It just,
I'll work on it.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. What else? Who else? That's it.
Aatmn, hello.
Yeah.
Lalima Bulja. Please repeat the affirmation that you gave her.
I invite XYZ to be happy in my universe.
Okay.
Because others are your extension and projections. I know there are difficult people, and I've experimented. I've chosen to have them different in my universe. They may be difficult in everybody's universe, but they can be better in my universe.
Wow. Thank you so much.
Yeah, they have their own life, but I also have my own choice over what experiences I want to go through with people around.
Exactly.
And why
Exactly.
not exercise that?
Right.
Okay, so I
Uh,
leave you with this question. How do you create a win-win situation in your universe? Okay, ponder over it. And there is no tailor-made answer, or there is no standard answer. It has to be, it has to be more of a personalized answer for each one, for each situation, with each relationship. So discover that only when you'll ask questions, you will get answers. R5 statement for that would be R5, my unawareness of the possibility of win-win situation. Okay. So it is 8:41. We have 20 minutes, and I think I've done enough of but today. So I think I've made my point. Yeah. Any question, Gopal?
Yeah, I wanted to say something, Atman.
Yes, please share us.
Uh, this is, it came to me just now because I was listening to others speaking about their experiences within their families.
Uh-huh.
So, observation one, that a daughter
Hmm.
uh, sees her father,
Mhm.
and starts expecting husband to be a role model for that father.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, number one. Second, a boy, a son, starts similarly expecting her wife, his wife, to cook like his mother.
Yep.
So there is, a role modeling in the subconscious happening.
Yeah.
So this is what I was observing in the third scenario, which I'm just going to say, that in our subconscious, are we not role modeling a mother-in-law, and we never see ourselves behaving the same way in unconscious state going forward?
That is, see, behind all this mother-in-law, daughter-in-law story, there's a lot of pre-programming in place.
Okay.
Especially in our Indian circumstances. At least when I grew up, I remember how my mom used to tell me
Mhm.
that, all this I can tolerate, but your mother-in-law will never tolerate. She'll make you
Hmm.
cry. And, so much of programming, the conditionings and
Mhm.
judgments being passed on this monster called mother-in-law.
Mhm.
Now the roles have reversed. I have more mother-in-laws coming crying about their daughters-in-law.
Okay.
So, but yet, the whole society believes stories. And then the
Mhm.
worst thing mother-in-law would do is says, "You are my daughter." Okay.
Mhm.
And the new bride would bite for some time. Then she'll
Mhm.
realize that if that's not the truth.
Mhm.
So, and that there's so much of disillusionment that comes up. Uh,
Actually.
we can rise above all these stories, forget about mother-in-law, daughter-in-law. We are two individuals. Okay?
Mhm.
And can we not be nice to each other beyond our relationships? And can we
Yeah.
invite each other to be nice to each other
Mhm.
beyond our relationships?
Mhm.
And we can exercise our choice, and that's what I invite all of you to attend that. And that includes, forget mother-in-law, daughter-in-law, the boss and subordinate. There is so much of belief about the bosses are supposed to be like that, the boss is like this, and boss has to be
S-
this way.
So I see a common thread here,
Yeah. Mm.
and why I'm saying this, because I have seen few cases
Uh,
where uh, the daughter always expected uh, her husband to be like father,
yeah.
but in one of the cases, the law of attraction was so strong that
Mm.
the daughter's, I mean, the girl's father was not a role model,
Uh,
but the negative unconsciously she attracted the the same things
Hmm.
in her husband.
Yeah. So essentially, for every daughter, for every girl child, the
Mhm.
first masculine principle that she encounters is father figure. Father figure, I'm saying.
Mhm.
It could be grandpa, mama,
Yeah,
this
father
kind of
figure. Yes.
thing. And for every boy, it's usually a mother.
Mm.
Okay. Now the woman they choose is could be if he's very fond of mother, whatever he likes, he would expect that qualities. What he
Mm.
doesn't like, he would expect exactly opposite quality.
Mm.
But the life, there is no much of the freedom uh, uh, from the first opposite gender role modeling.
Mhm.
Okay, so it could be exactly like him or exactly opposite to him or exactly like her or exactly opposite to him or but there is not much of the freedom unless you become aware of your expectations and the roots. Where is it coming from? Do you really
True.
know?
Very
Okay,
true.
because
Yeah.
the opposite person also has his or her freedom, but it's interesting. We end up attracting opposite person
Yes.
either to mirror or be exactly opposite to the other.
Absolutely.
That that
Thank you.
that's interesting. Yeah.
Yeah.
Any any other comments? Any other
Uh,
clarity?
excuse me, ma'am, can you repeat the sentence? I archive the unawareness of the possibility for the win-win situation. Ma'am, can you repeat it?
Yeah, I archive my unawareness of the possibility of a win-win situation.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
No, what I was asking was actually means just as Shreyas said just now,
Hmm.
does that actually mean that whatever we conceive in our minds is right from the childhood, we
Yes.
are most of the times we are bound to attract something exactly opposite to that most of the, because you are mostly saying I don't want these things,
Absolutely.
want
And
these
when
things
you say you, I don't want, what are you focusing on?
exactly,
Right?
right, okay,
I know a very sweet young girl. Okay, so she was very sure she doesn't want a hotelier, because her father was a hotelier and was running 3 or 4 restaurants. Says, oh my God, what life! You know, he would come home by 12:31 to midnight and then wake up late. By the time we are in the school, when we come, he's out, and I hardly see him. And what a wretched lifestyle! I don't want it. And she selected a boyfriend, and he didn't succeed in any other business. He started hotels and he started restaurants, and then it picked up so well. He says, this is exactly I didn't want, and that's what I got. Now I can't help it.
wow.
So yeah, and it's very common to find abusive father and running away from the father to get abusive boyfriend or a husband, and the story repeats because it's not about others, it's your story
Okay,
and your need for experience.
right,
Sounds
okay,
atrocious, but that's how it is.
okay,
And the good news is, if you needed that experience, you could opt for another experience with conscious awareness. How about doing that?
great,
Yeah.
that's perfect.
All right. Okay, I think that's good enough. A lot of food for thought. See you next week, 8 o'clock. Bye bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Thanks,
Thank you,
Aatmn.
everyone. Thank
Good
you.
night,
Bye,
everyone.
Thank
Uma.
you,
Thank you.
everyone.
Bye. Bye, Chair.
Thank you.
Bye. Bye, everyone.